Saeb Erekat, Palestinian negotiator, says the U.S. has no right to cut aid to the Palestinians. He says they will not return to the negotiating table with Israel, but that does not mean that Trump can cut American aid to the Palestinian Authority and the UN agency in Gaza, UNRWA. He threatens if Trump continues to cut aid to the PA and will encourage to join the ISIS. U.S. freezes more than half of aid funds to UN Palestinian agency in Gaza. Trump must cut the rest of the aid. UNRWA's education program teaches children to be suicide bombers in the name of Allah and wage a war of jihad against the West. Canada, Australia, Britain, and the European Union must follow Trump and stop funding UNRWA. Radical terrorists all over the world carry out terror attacks in the name of Allah. They justify their violence by quoting verses from the Quran. Politicians in the West always claim Islam is a religion of peace. Despite the fact and even former mayors such as Ayaan Hirsi Ali, Sandra Solomon claim that there are verses in the Quran and the Islamic scriptures that call for violence against infidels, that often what leads to the violence and terrorism carried out against infidels. Christians are the world's most persecuted religious group, according to studies. The Christian community in Iraq and Syria was completely annihilated. Anyone who could not escape and refused to convert to Islam was executed. Where are all the human rights organizations of the UN? Where are all human rights organizations in the West? Please pray for the Christian minorities in the Middle East world. Liberals and leftists in the West use the made-up term Islamophobia to portray anyone who criticizes Islam as a racist. They ignore the fact that Islam is an ideology that has nothing to do with race. There is an attempt in the West to impose a Sharia blasphemy law to criminalize criticism of Islam. It started when Saudi Arabia and Muslim countries tried to pass a UN resolution to force Western states to criminalize criticism of Islam. The Parliament in Canada passed Motion M103 to condemn the so-called Islamophobia, fear of Islam, in a preparation for a blasphemy law in Canada.